Hey, it's Kley. Welcome to another video. Today, I want to, I'm feeling a little bit of a dilemma, and I'm going to throw it out to you guys. I'd like your input down in the comment section below. One of the amplifiers that I built several years ago is a Trainwreck Express clone. It was into a Hammond organ transplant. I basically took the chassis and some of the transformers and gutted it and replaced the entire internal circuit with that of a Trainwreck Express. This amp is a really interesting amp. I don't even know how to describe it with words, really. So what I want to do is play some clips, let you guys hear it, and then I'd really like your input because on one hand, I love this amp. It is such a unique and interesting amplifier to own and to play. There really is nothing else quite like it on the market. It is a beast. It's an instrument in and of itself. You play the amplifier almost as much as you're playing the guitar or any of your effects pedals. It's loud. It's like 50 watts of just pure power. It's really its own thing. You know, if you think about a clean Fender amp, that's a blanket upon which you can lay all of your different effects or layers. But this thing, honestly, it doesn't really work to run pedals into it. You just run straight in, use the volume controls on your guitar in your hands, and you get this very wide tonal palette. But it's goes all the way from shimmery clean tones to searing lead tones with the turn of the guitar's volume knob and your pick attack. But that also means that it is kind of I don't want to call it a one-trick pony, but like when you dial into this amp, it's doing the Trainwreck thing. It's not a chameleon that's able to mix itself or find itself in different situations. And so while it's a ton of fun to play, it's also a little bit of an impractical beast. I've got this 50-watt behemoth that just is a flamethrower. And, not a lot of situations where a flamethrower is required. I just find myself, I don't use it that much. Really, the only time I ever use it is when I sit down to play it and just to enjoy and experience the tone that it's producing. But on the flip side, I have several other amplifiers. I've got a clean Fender, I've got a Marshall, I've got a couple smaller ones, the 5E3, the 7-watt Plexi. So, it's not like I'm lacking in my amp arsenal. So why don't we do this? I want you guys to listen to the clips and then please leave a comment down in the comment section below. What would you do if this was your amp? Would you keep it as is? Or would you modify it into something else? And that something else really could be anything. Could be a Dumble, could be a high, more of a high-powered clean tone like a High Watt or a Vox or even like a Fender Twin. A lot of different options there. So please weigh in down below in the comment section. And thanks for checking it out. Let's listen to the tone clips now. have the Trainwreck here on the bench, a couple of things I would like to look at. First of all, I have this switch that can defeat the tone stack, but I found that this amp is so blasting that that is never helpful or necessary, and so I'm just going to take it out. Actually, I've noticed even sometimes it gets a little like kind of weird or noisy, and so just not real like thrilled about that. I'm going to just go ahead and remove it. And then second, I'm going to check the bias. I currently have two JJ6V6S power tubes in here, and we're going to check the bias to make sure that that's accurate. With this amp pushing the power section so much, that definitely could be a potential cause for a problem. So let's go ahead and make those two adjustments. Alright, so the first step at any successful amp modification is to be safe. So I'm going to discharge the filter capacitors here, connecting my tool from one side to the other. Alright, when my filter cap's discharged, we're going to take this switch out. Okay, I have the amp plugged into a dummy load box, which is my 2 notes Captor. I've got 120 volt AC coming in here. You can see here on my multimeter we've got 122 volts of alternating current coming into the power switch. If I switch this over to DC, now I'm going to check for bias. Right here are my two 6V6 power tube sockets. Each of them right in here has a 1 watt resistor going to ground, 1 watt resistor going to ground. So we're going to take a measurement reading of direct current at that point, and then because of Ohm's law, that will tell us how much amperage of current is flowing through those tubes. So if I flip the switch on, okay, I have no idea why I was plugging into that outlet, into that speaker load box. It blew my breaker. I don't know what's going on with that, but I plugged it into the speaker and it seems working fine. I'm getting about 16.8 milliamps of current on this this left tube socket. Now I plugged into this one and I'm getting 19.4 milliamps of current. I'm not sure if it's because these tubes are mismatched and they're drawing power at different rates, or what exactly is the cause of that. So this is worth investigating a little bit deeper. Alright, so step one, I got Rob Abernet's tube calculator, bias calculator. We got the JJ6V6S, which is a 14 watt tube. I'm going to enter the plate to cathode voltage. The plate here is on pin 1, where this brown wire right here is going, and then the black wire is right there. We're getting 466 volts. Just for curiosity, I'm checking the other tube, and we're all still getting 466 volts. So the plate voltage going to each of the tubes is the same. Alright, looking at the calculator, my bias actually appears to be pretty correct. We're in class AB, fixed bias. I'm at 17 on one and 20 on the other. So I'm kind of in between 50 and 60% on one, and I'm pushing 70% on the other. So the bias is in a good range, but it is a little bit uneven, which may be not ideal. Alright, I forgot that I actually swapped the output transformer on this guy, and I do have a video down the link in the description. When I swapped the output transformer, the original Hammond organ was like a 15 watt 6V6 amp, and this output transformer is like from a Fender, like a Hot Rod Deluxe, so it would actually expect two 6L6s. So I'm going to try, these are two 6L6 GCs from JJ, and I'm going to try and fire these guys up, and we'll do a little test and see maybe how I like the 6L6s versus the 6V6 GC, these guys, these 6V6Ss. Now the JJ6V6S is not your average 6V6. It's a little bigger, a little beefier, maybe more like 14 watts, 15 watts instead of 12. So it's kind of like a mini 6L6, but these 6L6 GCs from JJ are like a 30 watt tube. So I'm going to pop them in. Changing some numbers here on my tube bias calculator. We're going to want to see about 38 milliamps of current. So let's, I got this all set up. Let's fire it. Takes a second to warm up. You can see they're glowing. Okay, now the amp's making sound. And you can see the current fire up. What did I say I wanted? 38? It's slightly hot, but not bad. The 70% was 45. So honestly, 41 is fine. Just for the sake of curiosity, I've got this little pot here. I can go up, but I'm actually on the minimum. So it looks like that's about as good as it's going to get, which I'm okay with. I'm between 60 and 70%. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Let's get this guy hooked up back to the speaker now. Tone stacks out, and let's see how we like it. Okay, so just for kicks, I'm checking the bias from the other cathode of the other tube. So the first one I had that was like 40 was here. This one's at 34. So we are getting that same mismatch. So that's making me wonder, maybe it's not just the tubes. I don't know, maybe it's the output transformer being a little mismatched. I'm not sure.